Coming to you from an undisclosed location somewhere on the windswept prairies of Oklahoma, I'm your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. This is the new Acceleration Radio, right here on KGRA and also throughout the internet, on YouTube, and our new platform, Uscreen TV. Folks, our very special guest today is Celeste Solem. She was here a few weeks ago. We got lots of reaction to the interview. Celeste is all over the place right now, being interviewed by lots of people, and she graces us with her presence today. But what's happening on Thursday? This is a global event. You're going to partake in that. Let's start there. What's happening on Thursday for you?
So I'm really excited. This is a live simulation exercise. So usually when people hear exercise, they think that it's evil, but this is resistance from around the world coming together within each of our different expertises to resist the tyranny that's coming across the globe.
You know, and you talk about the tyranny. I mean, we see it, and I've been blogging about it, talking about it on our channels. You get these draconian events, these draconian decrees, like from the Governor Whitmer up in Michigan. Somehow it's not okay to go fishing, and you can't buy seeds, but you can. It's crazy, and these people really need to be recalled. Our First Amendment rights are being trodden on like crazy. I am alarmed at what I see. Very much alarmed at what I see. And as you know, Celeste, because we talked about it over the weekend, that we were completely deplatformed on Vimeo, completely deplatformed. Now, a lot of people think that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a nutcase. I mean, someone wrote me and said, "Oh, this guy's a nutcase. No one believes anything he says." Well, you're not so fast, citizen. We're trying to upload a video that we did today, but I wrote his foundation to help the children, and I said, where is his source material, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s source material for the vaccines? Well, they sent me this basically a peer-reviewed paper from all Indian doctors, every single one of them, and it shows very, very specifically that there seems to be a direct correlation to Gates's vaccination to children being paralyzed. There's a correlation there. Now, why write a paper like that unless there's something going on? So we also showed a clip, and this is my question. It's a one-part question, but there's two points here I'm bringing up to you. So you got the Gates vaccination deal in India, which seems to be real, and then you've got Robert F. Kennedy quoting that. And of course, all that's taken down. But the other part of the equation is we've got Gates literally saying on camera that in order for this COVID-19 virus, the Wuhan virus, the COVID coup, as Dr. Graves likes to call it, to go away, the entire planet's going to have to be vaccinated. What are your thoughts when you hear that?
It's absolutely, there's three steps to getting back to normal. One is that everybody has to be tested, and what people don't realize is that is a voluntary submission to the B system of your blood, which is holy unto the Lord. And you really have to think about that, that we are voluntarily giving to the B system. Our most precious asset, other than our spirit, is our blood. And so that's number one. Number two is those vaccines. You and I've gone through it. It has aborted babies, humanized mice, humanized plants. And then there's the DARPA hydrogel that grows inside of you that makes you one with artificial intelligence. So, it's really, we have to think about these things as Christians, whether we participate or not.
Well, let me ask you this. There was this alleged patent going around that says WO 2020 and then 060606. Now, everyone, I've seen this and I have not been able to vet it. I don't know whether it's a legitimate patent or someone has done a little work on the internet and posted this out to add to the conspiracy tinfoil hat brigade. Have you heard about this so-called patent? And in your opinion, is it real? And if it is real, what's your source material? How did you vet that?
Okay, so I have heard about it. I have not had time to vet it, but would not surprise me. Another person sent me a YouTube. You heard about the Canadian shootings.
Correct.
So when I did my in-depth vaccination coverage, I went through the very specifics of the genes they were sequencing and all of that. And one of the codes for one of the 48 vaccines was on one of the responding police cars, that particular code for COVID. So, we know they talk in code. The president is talking in code. So these things do happen, but I have not had time. I'm one woman trying to do the best she can. And I haven't had time to vet that particular patent, but a lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about it. It's gotten a lot of legs on the internet. Folks, if you're watching this, if you're watching this program and you know something about this alleged patent, please shoot me an email, la@lamarzulli.net, la@lamarzulli.net. Now, I'm going to play Angel Advocate here with you. Our President Donald Trump moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. The first president who actually said he was going to do that and actually did it. Because everybody from Bush Sr. all the way up to Obama promised it and did nothing. So he's done that. Then he's got us out of the Paris, the whole climate change deal, the Paris Accord. He stepped away from that. He got us out of that. He completely reworked NAFTA. He lowered our taxes. He's building a border wall. Someone sent me an incredible clip showing the construction on the border wall. So playing Angel Advocate here to you, I get it, the code thing, but the media is completely against this guy. I mean, he just walks on stage and opens his mouth and already they're spinning it. So I think he's a white hat. I think he was, you go back 30 years when he's talking, let's say, on Oprah, and his core values have not changed in 30 years. I mean, it's the same core values, the same guy that we're seeing. So I want to believe that we've got one guy in there who's holding this whole New World Order thing back. I mean, he openly stated, we don't want globalism, we're not part of a New World Order, and then his actions show it. I mean, if Hillary had been in, we would be on our way to the New World Order. They never would have rescinded our participation with the Paris climate change stuff. Hillary never would have defunded who? World Health Organization, and that's what we see Trump doing. So, I mean, I get it. I mean, how far down the rabbit hole do we have to go before we realize that this guy's actions are completely contrary and total contradiction to what the New World Order wants? What are your thoughts?
So are you familiar with the shell game? So
absolutely.
What they do in politics, they love to do it, is they introduce a word and then that word is redefined. They change the word. And so sometimes what we're seeing, like for instance, you talked about the NAFTA thing. So basically what was created, so they got rid of the North American Union, as you say, but what they did is they just renamed it. It's not North American Union, it's something else, and I did that. I actually went to the Federal Register and it's there. And so they just slapped a different name and said, I got rid of the North American Union NAFTA type thing. So this is what they're doing, is changing the words. And I guess I'm really concerned because there is this globalization, there is this harmonization. And even if There's good cop, bad cop, and if Trump is out there, I believe if he was strongly out there, he would have got the Kennedy treatment. That's just my own personal belief. Do I believe he was appointed by God? Absolutely. Do I believe this country would have been a wreck with Hillary? Absolutely. But the problem with Trump is not really Trump. It's the supporters that want to elevate President Trump to the status of Messiah or God. God, he's not a God. He's a man.
Of course not. Of course not.
He has his good points, his bad points. Sometimes he's harmonized with the global governance. Sometimes he's sovereignty for America. And so it's our job as Bereans, as Christians, to do our due diligence and to search out what is the truth, what is not, and hold everybody from our president to our local county commissioners into accountability right now.
Well, let me ask you this, Celeste. I mean, we are in this window of time where everything is locked down. And now some states are beginning to reopen. But we've lost upwards of, depending on whose figures you want to believe, let's just round it up to 25 million jobs. 25 million people have lost their jobs. That's the ultimate train wreck, the ultimate, financial train wreck. If this thing is orchestrated, then they've done a marvelous job. So with that in mind, let's go back to the Wuhan province. About almost 40 days ago, we started hearing rumblings of this. And we heard it came from a wet market in the Wuhan province in China, where all these animals and exotic animals, and somehow the virus jumped from a bat virus to a human being. That's what we were told. I never really bought that. You can go back, folks, and look at my early presentations on PPS Report right here on YouTube about this. Go back to March 18th, March 20th, and they were talking about the wet market. I'm kind of going, you know what? There's a level 4 biolab 20 miles away. In my opinion, it's classic wag your dog. So now we get all this stuff comes out this week that the Obama administration basically funded through Dr. Fiasco, Dr. Fauci, $3.7 million to that lab in China. And then we find out that the Chinese were prohibiting any planes from the Wuhan area to go into mainland China, but they allowed them to go internationally. So my question to you is, have you heard anything about this? Was it deliberate in your opinion? Did the Chi-Coms deliberately release it? Or was it just an accident, or don't you know? So we just got cut off, folks, and the internet here has been horrible all day. I apologize, but Celeste is back now. So level 4 biolab, Wuhan, do you think, this is the question, do you think that the Chi-Coms did this deliberately because of Trump basically slapping them on the hand with the tariffs, the billions of dollars that the Chi-Coms have lost because of the tariffs that Trump's put on? What do you think's going on with that?
So it definitely was a biological weapon. Actually, several were released. It includes human, plant, and animal pathogens. And of course, everybody's just focused on the corona, Chinese, whatever you want to call it. But there are other pathogens, and they were released. As far as the wet market goes, this pathogen was created from bat, cereve, and a pangolin. Plus, it has SARS, MERS, which is camel, and it's got human. So it's this hybrid monstrosity that was created and released. So it does fit in all the categories. If you want to watch it and find out more information from a scientific point of view, you go to nextstrain.org, and it shows you not only where it originated, but that certain ones were placed in certain locations. Like the strain in America is different than the strain from China, and that's different than the strain that was got to Europe. So And I do want to say about the wet market, the reason is that they are so hung up on the wet market is because this is an agenda where they want to change and alter our food supply. And they want people to be fearful and scared of natural and cultural food supplies. The only food supply that they want us to have is a lab generated. The global governance documents say that we, starting this year, can't take anything from nature, and we have to reduce our footprint by a half. So we can't take anything from nature. So that's the reason that they're making such a big deal about the wet market, is because that is a Chinese cultural meat supply. But they don't only want the Chinese to change their diets, they want Americans to change their diet.
What is interesting, we know that they're allegedly culling a lot of hogs, a lot of pigs. Same thing with the chicken, same thing with the meat. So it's like this two-pronged thing happening. All of a sudden, we go from the Wuhan virus to, well, we've got to, somehow get rid of all the food supplies in America. Now, not all the food supply, obviously, but what's really going on with the farmers? What are we really looking at here? And the one thing I know for a fact is that Americans are armed to the teeth. Thank God we've got our Second Amendment rights. Thank God, they didn't forcibly try to round up the guns. But you remember the nutcase in Virginia, the governor of Virginia, with all due respect, if he gets elected, the first thing he wants to do is round up the AR-15s and everything else, and it's just not going to happen. So, I get this. There seems to be an agenda that's going on here. And let me ask you something. And here's my next question for you. We've heard rumors of a second manifestation of this thing sometime in the fall. October surprise, folks. That's what it is. So this thing's going to come back roaring like a lion. Is it possible that the second wave will have stuff added to it? And then before you answer, let me add one more thing. I'm going to have Dr. Tim Kennedy. He's a medical doctor in Ohio. He's my guest on Friday, and he's said exactly the same thing that you did. That this Wuhan virus thing has got other components into it, so it's man-made. Didn't come from the wet markets. It came from the lab, and that gets back to the question: did the Chi-Coms release it deliberately? So, what are your thoughts on all of that?
I kind of am not sure about if they deliberately did this. And the reason I say that is because it came at the Chinese holiday that would be the equivalent of our Easter. And so it was a very important time for the Chinese people to, visit with family, eat their traditional foods and all that. And this hit them hard and first. We kind of knew what to expect, even though we had been promised Easter. We were not able to participate in Easter like we traditionally do. So I'm not sure that it was a deliberate release, but it definitely was a release from a biological laboratory.
And of course, that biolab was funded by, Dr. Fiasco, Dr. Fauci, under the Obama administration. So it begs the question, what kind of funny business are we looking at here? So Rudy Giuliani said this over the weekend on one of the, I think it was on Fox, and I talked about this yesterday, that, we funded the thing and now it's killing us. It's unbelievable. Go figure. So something certainly doesn't smell right here at all. Where do you see the future? Let's project. And I know we don't have a crystal ball, and I'm not asking you to engage in necromancy here. But in your professional opinion, where do you see this thing going, let's say a month from now? Let's go to the end of May. What do you see? And then we'll go on from there. Let's start with May.
So basically, I see a slow get back into the new normal, as they're calling it, to get people to give some normalcy. And the reason that they're doing that, have you ever seen the movie or the series America with a K?
No, I never have.
Oh, it's great. It's about a Russian takeover of the United States. And basically they have a scene or a segment of scenes of managed how they manage resistance. And so they give people just enough freedom or just enough liberty to manage and control that. So in that instance of that movie, and many of your followers probably have seen it, they're in like a dance thing, and they're all hip hopping around, so and then they went out and smashed a few things, and so the Russians were very pleased that they had managed this. And I think that that's what we're seeing in the near term, is that they're going to give us a little bit of freedom, but still with a lot of controls. Then we're going to see wave after wave, and with each wave it's going to be increasingly more iron fist of the global control tyranny.
And you know what? I mean, you say that, and I just know the American people's spirit and Americans. I mean, already, like in California over the weekend, Governor Newsom, stay at home, blah, 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 blah. Thousands of people defied the order, went to the beach. There's a woman in Texas who goes, I got to feed my kids. You can't stop me feeding my kids. I'm opening up my hair salon. So, at some point, and this morning I talked about this in our PPS report. And by the way, today is April 28th. This is a pre-record. We're airing this show on Thursday, Acceleration Radio. But Laura Ingraham had two doctors from California on the record basically stating that, this whole thing we shouldn't be doing this. We don't have to be doing what we're doing. So it's a question, who do you believe? And of course, here are two medical doctors on the front lines, and YouTube just dismisses it. Now, hopefully this will be on YouTube, but who knows? We have 117,000 followers on my YouTube channel. Well, if they deplatform me, now what? And I lose all those subscribers. So we'd have to go to Uscreen TV, and we are getting that set up. But I mean, this is the problem, Celeste. You get one narrative over here, and then another narrative over here. And we don't know what the truth is. And all we're trying to do with this show and everything else that we've done is to try to find the truth. So let me back up. JFK was killed in Dallas. But in my opinion, Lee Harvey Oswald was not the lone gunman. And of course, when that happened, anyone who didn't agree with the Warren report was called a conspiracy theorist. That's the label that's stuck for the last, 55 years, whatever. So here we are. So if you go against the official narrative, you're a conspiracy theorist. The Twin Towers did collapse. They came down. But Dr. Judy Wood talks about dustification. And you can just go on and Google her, and you can watch the towers as they're coming down. They're evaporating right in front of your eyes. And then Building 7 falls at free fall speed, which is impossible. Absolutely impossible. And the only steel building in all of history to fall like that from a fire, a plane didn't hit Building 7. No one talks about Building 7, but that's the smoking gun. So the COVID coup, the Wuhan virus, the COVID-19 virus is real. We're not saying it's not real. I know 3 people, not personally, but through Francisco Carrera, who was on here last weekend. His grandmother died from the flu, 102 years old. My brother's friend and college roommate died from COVID-19. Karsten, who was on the show, his friend down in Ecuador, died from COVID-19. So it's real. We're not saying it's not real. But the thing is overblown, and some people seem to be more susceptible to it than others. So in your worldview, things are going to get more draconian as we move forward. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely. And the pandemics are going to get worse. I mean, it's part of a military government acronym called CBRN, which is chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and E is the wild card. It can be environmental, electromagnetic, Ebola, whatever. And so they just throw that in wherever. And right now we're all saturated with the chemicals, so they've accomplished that part. There's chemicals in the air, water, our whole environment. And so now they're at the biologicals, so they're going to release a bunch of biologicals, and then it'll be the radiological, we'll have a nuclear incident.
Well, look, we know for a fact that the chemtrails, now, again, I'm wearing my tinfoil hat because I'm calling about chemtrails, but we know that planes don't do that. I mean, I have filmed 2 planes about the same altitude, what looks to be about the same altitude, hard to say, on the same day, going by each other like this. One plane has just got contrails, and you see it evaporates. The plane goes off like this. The other one is laying this thing down, which doesn't go away. In fact, billows out, and 2 hours later, the entire sky turns milky, silvery, milky gray type of deal. So, we know that aluminum and barium seems to be being sprayed. They're already doing this. And it begs the question, who and what is allowed to spray this kind of stuff over the American people? And it's, I find it alarming. So here we go. Here's sort of the kicker. We know for a fact that Jesus is coming back. We also know that we may be in the window of time because Israel's been regathered back in its ancient homeland, fulfilling all sorts of prophecies. Now, whether one believes in pre-trib, mid-trib, or post-trib, that will give a different viewpoint of what we're looking at. I'm pre. So I believe that we're going to get out of here before it really gets nuts. But here's what the book of Revelation says. When the seals are open, in the first 3.5 years, 2 billion people die of pestilence. We know that. Are we looking, this is my question, are we looking at the precursor to this? Could we be in a window of time where the church is going to be taken out of here because we're in this, the seals are not, in my opinion, the seals have not been opened yet. We're not there yet. I think the church gets raptured and then the seals open. What say you?
Okay, so it's really interesting because that goes into my True Legends presentation. But this year, 2020, if you use the integrated biblical calendar, which is 4 calendar systems together, is the midpoint of Daniel's 70th week this year. So if we start seeing things that bear resemblance to the mark, then that would mean if, given a rapture situation, that the church would be taken out. I'm more of a mid-trib person myself.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that any time, like starting this year, it's biblically feasible since where we're at is the midpoint of Daniel's 70th week.
Very, very interesting. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's okay. We both know something. This is what we know, that we are living in unprecedented, tenuous, tumultuous times. In the history of the world, we've never seen anything like this. Ever. And it's affecting every single country on the planet. And, we don't know where it's going. And you don't know really what to believe and what not to believe. Elections are just a few months away. That could be the huge game changer. If Trump is not reelected, mark my words, we will be on the fast track to a new world order. That's my opinion. We also, let me ask you something. We also have the idea that Barr and Durham is going to implicate and release these documents, basically, that implicate the highest echelon of the FBI, the DOJ, the CIA, all the way up, allegedly, to the Obama White House. We don't know how far it goes, but it seems like that. Trump recently stated that the top echelon, and I'll use his word, were scum. His words. Now, for him to say that is unbelievable. And that was, they were going to release the indictments last week. It hasn't happened. We're Tuesday, no indictments. But over the weekend, General Flynn was talking about the idea that maybe he's going to be exonerated. In fact, his lawyer came out with new information. So we see this incredible skullduggery going on behind the scenes where they take an innocent man like General Flynn, allegedly an innocent man. And remember, you're innocent until proven guilty. And now this whole thing might get thrown off. Coupled with that, we also see that Trump was exonerated with the impeachment thing. Can you imagine, Celeste, if they said to you, well, we have an accuser, Celeste, who said this, this, and this, but we're not going to let you see your accuser. And meanwhile, they bring in all these people, and your lawyer can't call anybody. This is un-American. This is something out of the Gulag system in the former Soviet Union. This is something out of a Nazi playbook. You want to know who the real fascists are? All you need to do is look at the impeachment stuff, and then the Mueller report, and this whole thing just collapses like a house of cards. It's just unbelievable. So, the hope chip for me is that the indictments will come out. That it'll begin to go even further than that. What say you?
So I'm like known as the document lady. And so when I have a document in hand, just like with you wanting to vet certain information like the patent, I mean, when you have that in your hand, then you can say, this is the real deal. Until then, we just don't know.
We don't know. We don't know what we're looking at. And that's what's troubling.
By jingoes, it's amazingly fresh and clean out here in beautiful New Zealand. G'day America, I'm Tarby, and I want to tell you about my new ultimate stain and odour remover, Jingoes. My Jingoes gunk gobblers will tackle stubborn organic stains and eliminate nasty stinking odours at the same time. Jingoes effectively removes those little accidents like wine, coffee, dirt, blood, grass, even pet stains, and odours like fish, garlic, even skunk. Jingoes is environmentally friendly, safe for use on fabrics, carpet, upholstery, and it works great as a laundry pre-soak on the worst pet or people accidents. Come on America, what are you waiting for? Just go online and order your Jingoes for $12.95 and get a 4-ounce travel pack free. Crikey, pay $19.95 and I'll double your order. That's 2 large Jingoes and 2 travel packs for just $19.95. Blasted seagulls, where's my Jingoes?
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to getthetea.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's getthetea.com.
For the thousands of wounded warriors returning from battle, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps wounded warriors translate their military experience to a civilian job. These extraordinary men and women bring more than just teamwork and inspiration to the workplace. They bring proven world-class job skills. And to ensure proper placement, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right job fit. Talented, skilled, and eager to get back to work, you have the opportunity to hire a seasoned veteran. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The new KGRA YouTube channel is now live. Subscribe and be sure to hit the bell to stay up to date on the latest major announcements, alerts on trading topics, exclusive live streams, live video cast, and that's just the beginning. Be the first to know what's coming from the KGRA TV channel in real time. So keep it locked in to your contact for alternative talk radio on the internet. Your KGRAradio.com. More ways for you to make contact. Live Discord chat rooms, live talk radio, live video cast, toll-free HD phones, and coming this year, live streaming TV, giving you more ways to make contact. Your KGRAradio.com.
It's like we know that they've got to release this thing soon. Right now, everybody's COVID-19, so that's going to take a back seat to everything. But if it's true, and they do indict these people, and General Flynn goes free, I mean, if it starts to go into the DNC and the Steele dossier, I mean, this whole thing is so corrupt. And then on top of this, you got the Democratic nominee, who I don't believe will be the Democratic nominee. And we need to pray for Joe Biden, not because he's such a great guy, because I don't wish dementia on anybody. Both of my parents died from dementia, and I know what it looks like, and it's just dreadful. You know, and I think what we're looking at with Joe Biden is he's got dementia, which is why his wife's sitting there and Joe's silent and his wife's talking. Well, Joe, you're not running for president, your husband is. I don't think he'll be the nominee. I think we'll see something happen. But what's damning about this is with the Kavanaugh, and I want you to address this, the Kavanaugh nomination, we get this woman that comes up and no one knows her. 35 years ago, this allegedly happened. She's got no witnesses. It's like he said, she said. The media is all over this. They ruin Kavanaugh's life, his family. They ruin it. They just take him and throw him in the street. Well, now we've got a real accuser, allegedly, with Biden, saying that this is what happened, and it was a sexual assault, and the media is silent. I mean, talk about a double standard. So, I mean, this is why, you know, Celeste, I think we've got a window. And when that window closes, that'll be it. What say you?
You're like I even wrote Steve this week, and I said, there's something to do with glass. When I went to film my Branson presentation, I broke a glass. This is like a sturdy water glass. I've never broke it. I've had this set for decades. I do a lot of entertaining, never broke a glass. And then I'm studying like the Song of Songs, and it's talking about God looking down upon us from the windows of heaven.
Wow.
And you're like the third person in the last 24 hours that says, we have a window. We have a window. I mean, this is like super confirmation to all of us who listen to the Holy Spirit that there is this window, and it could be broken glass. And that's interesting because on the COVID patients, there is the broken glass or shattered ground glass, I guess, on the x-ray. So it's all tied with glass. It's very interesting. And then we're seeing, on the other hand, God looking down from the windows of heaven upon the whole situation. So it's interesting that we're all getting the same message.
Very interesting. You know, Celeste, that's all the time we have for. I just want to thank you so much for coming on the record. Please close us out. Give us your last thoughts. Thank you.
I just think that this is the time for resisting. If we resist the devil, he must flee. And I think that this is a call to action for all Christians at a personal level, all the way up to anything that you can do, from personal preps to contacting your legislators and your congressmen and whoever, and hold the people accountable. And most of all, pray for our leaders.
Celeste, shalom. Celeste, you'll be on this global communication on Thursday. Thanks so much for coming on, Celeste. God bless you. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning into Acceleration Radio. I'm your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. As many of you know now, we were deplatformed on Vimeo. They completely took our account, everything, all of our videos down, all of our films down. We have another account on Vimeo, which we're just putting the films on. So we're not doing Acceleration Radio. You can only get that on YouTube, which is most of you are watching right here. But our new Vimeo account, if you just go to my website, lamarzulli.net, and go on films, it will take you right there. And we have all the Watcher films, all 10 films there, as well as the UFO film in their own words, Fatima 1, Fatima 2, and of course the entire On the Trail series. There are 4 installments, but more about that later. But this is what this says. This is from Vimeo, and we've been talking about that just to kind of tell people what's going on. It looks like your account has been disabled due to a violation. You can learn more about our rules here. If you think this was an error, you can dispute the violation here. So I did dispute it, and they wrote back and said, there were multiple violations, LA. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're talking about the deep state. There is no deep state, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, that's, it's a private company, and they can do what they want. But you know what? we've had two people that have actually written into Vimeo, and I would, if you feel led to do that, I would encourage you to do that. Here's what this woman, Liesel, said. I wish to register my frustration with your platform for removing L.A. Marzulli. I understand that this is a private company and you can do as you choose. The fact that you are not allowing those with differing opinions to host here is a travesty. Many of us follow him, that's me, appreciate his viewpoints and pay for his videos. I was just about to do so with his collection of Watchers videos. You've shown your true colors and have lost my business. And that's how we push back, just like in the film industry. You know, you guys want to keep, tell us, all these actors will tell us about guns and how, owning an AR-15 is wrong and you can't go there and blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, they turn out movie after movie after movie just because the new James Bond film. What's the body count in that film? So they glorify violence on one hand, right? But they tell us that we can't own guns on the other. It's just unbelievable. So we haven't been to a movie, I don't know, in years, really. I'm trying to think of the last one that we saw. We just don't go there because I think Hollywood has an agenda. And if you have not seen Out of Shadows yet, I strongly recommend you. It's on YouTube. You can watch it for free. Out of Shadows. You may have to hunt for it because they don't like this information out. But it talks about the pedo rings and the blatant sexual nonsense going on in Hollywood. There is an agenda. It's dark. It's Luciferian. I'm not saying every director, every producer, every actor is in league with that, but many are. Many are, and that's what this film exposes. Out of Shadows. I think it'll blow your mind. I was deplatformed on YouTube because there is no deep state. Whoa, what's this? This is either from a Drudge Report or Pro-Trump News or the Gateway Pundit, and I believe it's from the Gateway Pundit. So there's the deep state, Obama, Comey, and Mueller. This whole thing with Trump is a setup, and I predict in the coming weeks this whole thing's going to unravel. Now, look, I'm not a big Q fan. Most of you know that, but Q's been bagging on this for years. And you know what? COVID-19, the Wuhan flu happened, and so all this kind of went away. We haven't heard a lot. We've heard that Barr and Durham are working in tandem on this thing. And as you'll see here, this is a big deal. He's actually investigating the greatest crime in American history. Former U.S. Attorney Joe DeGeneva on the Durham investigation. Remember what U.S. Attorney John Durham is doing. He is deconstructing the Mueller-Weissman inquiry. The investigation by Durham will show conclusively that the Mueller-Weissman investigation was a fraud. Let me stop there and weigh in on that. I mean, after $30 million in what, 2 years? And notice Mueller could have released the information well in advance of the midterms, but no. He waited until after the midterms and then he released it. So the Republicans lost the House. That's a 3-hour conversation, which gets into Paul Ryan, who immediately, once he left the House of Representatives, he steps down, right? He retires, and he writes a hit piece on Trump. So, Trump comes into this whole thing. He's never been a politician. He's never been elected to any office in the land. So he goes from a reality show TV guy to the president of the United States. But Trump is an executive. There's no doubt about that. He's a real executive. He knows how to manage people, situations, money, the whole deal. Just look what he's done. Just look what he's done to the economy before this collapse. So, the whole Mueller thing, in my opinion, was a witch hunt, and it was proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is no Russian collusion. In fact, I would even go so far as to say that the real Russian collusion comes from here, and allegedly comes from the Obama White House. It's Hillary Clinton, the DNC, the whole crew. It's all dirty. Who paid for the Steele dossier? What is GPS fusion? Why does suddenly Steele lose all the records? Isn't that convenient? It's just how they play the game. Just like Hillary's 30,000 emails, which are deleted. Folks, I'll say it again, that if you don't get out and vote, look, the Chinese, the Chi-Coms don't want Trump reelected. Why? Because Trump has gone up against the Chi-Coms and the whole tariff thing, billions of dollars coming back into the country. And he's actually standing up to the Chi-Coms, the first president to do so, and who knows how long. So the Chi-Coms don't want Trump reelected. Could the Wuhan virus be a way of destabilizing the Trump bid for re-election? It's very possible, very possible. Many people now are looking at the whole Wuhan level 4 biolab in the Wuhan province and going, this thing was constructed. We'll have a doctor on tomorrow, Dr. Ted Kennedy, who will be talking about this on PPS Report. You'll want to see that interview. We haven't conducted it yet. We'll conduct it tomorrow and put it up. But the deep state. So let's get back into this. The Mueller investigation was never intended to find a crime. It was intended to entrap the president to get an impeachment for a false statement if he gave an interview. Now remember, this is from attorney Joe DeGenova. This guy knows what he's talking about. He's been all over this literally since its inception and railing against it. Of course, Trump's lawyers and lawyers like Joe DeGenova told him never to do so, never to give that information, so Trump didn't do this. That's why it's taking time. It's taking time because Durham and Barr are destroying Mueller as he makes the case against Clapper, Brennan, Comey, Sally Yates, and others. This is the big deal. He's actually investigating the greatest crime in American history. Here's the deal, folks. We know that, let me go back here. We know that Hillary Clinton was always supposed to win the election. There was no doubt about that. She was up 3, 4, 10 points in one of the in the polls. I mean, it was going to be a landslide, Hillary Clinton. And all of a sudden, the day of the election, I'll never forget, I remember looking at the polls coming in, and Trump's losing in Florida. And I turned to my wife, Peggy, and I said, if he doesn't win Florida, it's over. Hillary's going to get in. By the time we finished dinner, we came back, looked at the TV again, and oh my gosh, Trump just won Florida. It was unbelievable because the panhandle vote came in, which gave the state to Florida. And then through the night, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, the Rust Belt went over to Trump. And Hillary just assumed that this was a Democratic stronghold, and it buckled. And they knew about it. The Hillary Clinton campaign found out about it the week before, but the polls showing from Michigan, from Ohio, from Indiana, all the Rust Belt states were favoring Trump. And they went out there in an attempt to, drum up support, but it was way too late by that point. The Democrats show up every 4 years, promise this, promise that. That's why it's called the Rust Belt. That's why it's called the Rust Belt. And these workers that were there have been forgotten about. And Trump promised to bring back jobs to America, and I think that's what he's done. People can argue that till the cows come home. It depends on who you talk to and what stats you want to believe. But there is a deep state. There is a deep state, and they went against really the Constitution, against all semblance of law. And they figured that, well, Hillary's going to get elected. All this will be swept under the rug. No one will ever know. And they're exactly right. We would have never known about Fusion GPS if not for the work of John Sullivan and others. We would never know about the Steele dossier. And now it's all starting to unravel. And I rejoice in that. I rejoice in that because we as American people need to hold the people that we elect accountable. It's like this nutcase up in Michigan. And the Michiganders, the people of Michigan, are pushing back against Whitmer with this draconian law. Same thing in New Hampshire. The governor up there, acting, well, we're not going to open the state. People need to recall these little authoritative Hitlers, wannabe, with all due respect. But that's what we need to do. Recall them. We're finding out that, and again, it depends on who you talk to. If you listen to Dr. Fiasco and the WHO, this is a pandemic of global significance, blah, blah, blah. But other doctors are coming out and saying, no, it's not. Yes, it's highly contagious. We get that, but so is the flu. So instead of quarantining and shutting down the entire economy, why don't we quarantine the people who are sick? Let's move on. Anatomy of a frame job. The FBI, the CIA, the DOJ, and the NSA. The abuse of the FISA warrants. It's all going to come out. And I believe it's going to come out soon. And when it does, it may be epic. It may literally be epic. It may go up to the highest echelons of the former Obama administration, including Obama himself. We don't know. We don't know. And there was a clip on Tucker Carlson last night. I'll just say this. Everybody's in lockdown except for President Obama, who calls his private country club, and basically he goes and plays golf. While the rest of us, do as I say, not as I do. So we have an elite class, and then there's the rest of the peasants. It's not supposed to be that way. I know Trump has said that Congress should pass laws that they, in fact, should have to abide by. And, he's trying to change some of the congressional laws. These guys get perks like you can't believe, and it just goes on and on. So this is the handwritten documents which have just been released to frame General Flynn. And this is what it says. What is our goal? Truth, admission, or to get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired? It's the FBI. Can you imagine if it's you and they call you in and this is their goal, to see if we can get him a lie so we can get him fired or prosecute him? So already they're not interested in the truth. They're interested in an agenda, in their agenda, in an agenda which is foreign to the American people, in an agenda which goes against our Constitution, is an agenda which my father and many of you watching left blood and treasure in Vietnam, blood and treasure on the sands of Iwo Jima and the shores of the Normandy invasion. It goes against everything that is American. This is something right out of the gulags in Russia, what the Chi-Coms do, what the North Koreans do, and of course what the Russians did under the Soviet Union. It has no place in America. And I just pray to God that Barr and Durham go and chase this thing down till every nuance of it is erased from our government. When Trump stands up and calls the FBI and the DOJ scum, you know why he's doing that? You know why he's doing that? Because he saw this before we did. He found out about it before we did. Let's see what he says. CNN doesn't want to speak about the persecution of General Michael Flynn and why they got the story so wrong. So CNN, from the get-go, because they were trying to pin all this on Trump, trying to get Trump impeached, the whole Russian collusion thing, all that. So CNN played wag the dog, spun it in a certain way. So Trump says CNN doesn't want to speak about their persecution of General Michael Flynn and why they got the story so wrong. They, along with others, should pay a big price for what they have purposely done to this man and his family. They won't even cover the big breaking news about this scam. And again, this is what's wrong. And somehow, and I don't know how to correct this. I'm just one guy here. But somehow, the American people have to stand up and go, enough of this nonsense. But you know what? If you watch CNN and MSNBC every day, you're going to believe the propaganda. And if you watch Fox, you're going to believe that propaganda. We need to go off-site, look at what independent journalists are doing, look at what guys like John Solomon are doing, and others. And that's why we're going to have a doctor, which is not on Fox News, which is not on CNN, but we'll have Tim Kennedy on tomorrow talking about the Wuhan virus. Notice I say Wuhan virus because that's what it is. It's not COVID-19, okay? You can call it that, but it's the Wuhan virus, which was constructed in a Chinese lab, which was released upon the world. Was it deliberate? Was it deliberate? Do we really trust the Chi-Coms? Can you imagine if we find out that it was released deliberately to collapse the global economy in hope of making sure that Trump wasn't elected? Just think of the Gulf of Tonkin. Just think of the 9/11 Twin Towers coming down. Just think of the JFK assassination. You think the Chi-Coms hold some high ideal? Are you kidding me? They have one goal, world domination. They have one goal, world domination. World domination. That's all the Chinese want. So liberal media would rather see Americans die than report honestly on hydroxychloroquine. They are complicit. Ever since President Trump mentioned the highly successful studies of hydroxychloroquine treatments on coronavirus patients, the media has downplayed the miracle drug. The far left Washington Post has led the charge. Attorney General Bill Barr appropriately called the media reaction a jihad to discredit hydroxychloroquine. So let's look at this. This is from James Todaro, MD. The Italian Society of Rheumatology studied 65,000 patients on long-term hydroxychloroquine for rheumatoid arthritis and lupus. Only 20 patients tested positive for COVID-19. No ICU, no deaths. This is a 90% reduction in infection rate compared to the rest of Italy. In other words, the 65,000 people that were on hydroxychloroquine, only 20 patients out of 65,000 tested positive. Seriously? Seriously. So, people will look at that and say, well, we can't account and we have to believe Dr. Fiasco. You know, this is the trouble. Whose stats are right? Who is telling the truth? Do we believe this? Or do we believe what Dr. Fiasco is saying? This came out, and I'm trying to vet this. I don't know whether this is real. If some of you know about this, I'm going to throw it out here. Here's my caveat to you. There's no way I can prove this, okay? If it really is legitimate, I find it alarming. Help our sponsors by answering one question. Do you know someone in your community who is sick, fever, along with cough, shortness of breath, or difficulty breathing right now? Yes? No? Not sure? Submit? I mean, this is like the little snitch stuff that happened in the Soviet Union, the same nonsense that happened with the Gestapo, the secret police under the Nazis. This is un-American. It's un-American. It's un-American. I mean, we've got Mayor de Blasio. This seems to be real. We'll go what he said to the Jewish community. My message to the Jewish community and all communities is simple. The time for warnings has passed. I have instructed the NYPD to proceed immediately to summons or even arrest those who gather in large groups. This is about stopping this disease and saving lives. So Ramadan is Friday. That's tomorrow. The beginning of it. To the Muslim New Yorkers beginning their celebrations tonight who need halal meals. We have them across our 400 plus grab-and-go meal sites and are bringing hundreds of thousands more to the 32 sites most frequented by our Muslim communities. Duplicity? Bias? You tell me. I'm telling you, folks, it is time to recall people. It is time to vote people with these agendas out of office. It's time to hold people accountable for what they did to Roger Stone and General Flynn, for what Mueller did and put Trump's family through the absolute ringer, the impeachment scam from the House of Representatives. It's time to hold Adam Schiff accountable. Folks, the True Legend Conference is streaming May 15th to 17th. My presentation is on ancient cataclysms and lost civilization. That gives you an idea of what it looks like. We shot it right here in the studio. We put a green screen up. When I say we, my future son-in-law, but John Adam is learning editing. In fact, what you're watching now, John Adam is actually doing the editing. So we're excited about that. He's learning a new skill, and I really need someone here in the studio. We had an assistant editor in Malibu, but after we moved here, we have not been able to find anyone. So he's an editor in training. In fact, the last, I think, 15 shows that you have seen have been edited by John Adams. So we're excited by that. But we shot it right here in the studio. We put up the green screen. This is the end results. True Legends live streaming. It's, again, go to truelegends.com or Gen 6, Steve Quayle's site, and check that out. I would encourage you. They've got some great speakers. Obviously, Steve Quayle. Celeste Salome is also on it, which was fantastic. Derek Gilbert and others. So Michael Lake, Dr. Michael Lake. How can I forget Dr. Michael Lake? And others. So you'll want to stream this May 15th to the 17th. And there you have it. You can also go to our Vimeo channel. We've got all of our films uploaded again on another Vimeo channel. So we're not posting any politics, prophecy, and the supernatural. We're not posting anything that might violate their laws of in-house policy nonsense. But we are putting our films back on. We are also on Uscreen TV. Not quite yet, but we're getting there. She'll have 2 platforms. We're also looking at Brighteon. We're going to try to get 3 platforms going. But if you go to my website, lamarzulli.net, lamarzulli.net, click films, it'll take you right to that site, and you can rent all 4. This is some of the feedback. My wife and I were in all 4 of your videos. That are these: Mysterious Mound Builders, Mathematical Mysteries of the Mound Builders, Seekers of a Supernatural American Stonehenge. This is from the Gonzalez family. My wife and I rented all 4 of your videos about a week ago and absolutely loved them. There was so much great information in those videos, and we definitely learned a lot. We even had our kids watch it with us. They particularly liked the 3rd video, that's Secrets of the Supernatural. Thank you for your ongoing work to bring light to this hidden history. Folks, there it is. You can go to my website, lamarzulli.net, click on film, and it will take you right to where you can purchase these. You can rent all 4 for $12. If you buy 1 DVD, it's $20. So the way to go is to stream it, but those of you who want hard copies, you can also get that too. It's all the time I have for folks. Thank you so much. Pray for our President Trump. Pray for this country. Pray for revival. And remember, what Jesus tells us, when you see these things, what things? The earthquakes in diverse places, the famines and pestilence, earthquakes, troublesome times, volcanic activity. It's all firing on 8 cylinders, in my opinion. Are we in the window of time that the Bible speaks of? Are we at the doorstep of that 7-year tribulation period known as the time of Jacob's trouble, which deals with Israel, not the church? Which is why I truly believe, and you can disagree with me, I don't need a 5-page letter why you're post or mid, but I'm pre. And I believe that we're taken out. We're not appointed to wrath. Behold, I show you a mystery. And that's what I'm betting my farm on. Thanks for watching, folks. Remember, we'll see you on the air or in the air.